What's up, my people? Michael Six Muldoon here, and welcome back to another card magic tutorial. If you didn't already know this, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm also a high school teacher. And one of the things that I've been working on for some time now is taking the things I've learned as a magician, the psychology, the showmanship, the theory, and I've been working on bringing that into the world of education. And I recently gave a TEDx talk on this very topic. It would mean the world to me if you checked out that video. It's linked down below. I think you'd enjoy it just to hear my ideas on education and magic and bridging the two together. You'll hear a little bit about my personal story, my struggles in high school, why I became a high school teacher. And I think you'll also enjoy it because I perform some magic in there. So at the very least, you'll get a little bit of a performance in there as well. So if you want to check that out, it is linked down below. If you want to show some extra love, and it means the world to me, you can hit that like button or drop a comment on that video as well. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. So go ahead, watch the video, and leave a comment there. I read those comments all the time, so let me know your thoughts on those ideas that I'm presenting. Let's talk about today's effect, which is kind of a throwback for this channel, which is crazy to say that this channel is now having throwbacks. I originally posted this effect, it was one of the first videos that I put out, and it only got a few thousand views, or not even a few thousand, a couple thousand views. When I posted it, we had maybe only 400 or 500 subscribers at that time, which is crazy to say because we are coming up on 10,000 subscribers. So thank you all for joining us. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, be one of those 10,000. In the next video, I'm gonna be sure to do a giveaway once we hit 10K, a little 10K celebration, if you will, because this is exciting. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here. This effect is so good. It was falling under the radar, and that bothers me because I get a lot of mileage out of this effect. I use it all the time. So I didn't want it to fall out, under the radar, and that's why I'm bringing it back here. So if you're here from the beginning, you probably remember it, but many of you are not. You're new, so I think you're gonna enjoy this. The effect is called Vivace, and it comes from a book called Boroque Card Magic by Aldo Colombini, which I think was published around 1998. It was inspired by a magician named Carlos Vaquera. The handling that's published in the book is a little bit more complicated than the one I'm going to show you today. This is sort of a simplified handling. It was shown to me by my buddy Doug Edwards, and he fooled me the first time he showed it to me. It caught me off guard. It's not necessarily a fooler trick. I wouldn't say you're going to fool magicians with it, but I think you'll catch a lot of them off guard with the surprise ending. It's a very good effect. I think you're going to enjoy it. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you some extra bonus handlings and ways you can get into it with a shuffled deck of cards and extra stuff like that. So let's get into today's performance. So I went ahead and removed 4 cards from the deck. I'm going to tell you what they are in just a second. You see, the first one there is the King of Spades, then the King of Diamonds, King of Clubs, and last but not least, the King of Hearts. The 4 kings, and I'm going to place the 4 kings just on the table like this here. What I'd like you to do is I'm going to place the cards like that. I'd like you to cut the packet in half for me, if you will, and the spectator will go ahead and do that. Pick either pile, it's up to you. Cut it in half, do the same thing again. So they'll do that, and the last one, they'll do the same thing for. So you cut 4 random places. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place these cards on top of each pile. The King of Clubs, that's the King of Spades, that's the King of Diamonds, and last but not least, the King of Hearts will stay right here over here, sort of a leader packet. I'm going to show you how a magician might cheat at a game of poker. You see, because we'll have different hands like this, and each person will be holding onto their hands, but maybe I wanted to get a card from each pile, and it would look something like this. It's called the invisible palm. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. Can you see it? Yeah, I got it. You can't see it because it's called the invisible palm. That's important. But if I just bring it over here like this, watch very carefully. That's one. I'll do it again. Look, watch this one here. That's 2. And the next one, that's 3. You didn't see it happen, but something did happen. You see, I actually controlled all 4 kings to go back to the leader pile. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 kings, just like that. A little bit of magic there for you. But that's impressive. That's cool. I know how that's done. What I don't know is how you were able to cut the cards anywhere you wanted, anywhere you liked. You cut those cards and you happen to end up here at the Ace of Diamonds, the Ace of Clubs, the Ace of Hearts, and finally the Ace of Spades, cutting to all 4 aces. Absolutely incredible. And there you have it. That is Vivace. All right, my friends. So you're going to go ahead and go through the deck of cards, and you're going to remove the 4 aces, and those 4 aces are going to be on the top of the pack, just like this. And now you're also going to go ahead and remove the 4 kings. Now you don't have to remove the 4 kings in advance. You can obviously just set the 4 aces up on the top of the pack like this, and then have the 4 kings inside the pack somewhere, and then you just simply go through the cards and say, I'm going to remove 4 cards. I'm not going to show you what they are. And they'll be the 1, 2, 3, 4 kings, and you're gonna keep them face down for a second. And I keep them face down because that's part of the secret here. So now the first thing for this effect is you're gonna have the 4 kings removed, and they're not gonna know you have the 4 aces on the top of the pack. But you need to get a little finger break underneath the top 3 cards. So a finger break or pinky break just like this here. So my pinky's in there a little bit for you to see. I'll link to another video which I talk about pinky breaks, but you're gonna hold a pinky break there with those underneath those 3 cards. Now you're gonna pick up these 4 cards, and the reason why you want them face down is because you're gonna deal through them face up. So it'd make no sense to say, here are the 4 kings, the king of spades. That makes no sense, right? Because I can literally see the 4 kings. But if they're face down, you can say I remove 4 cards, maybe ask them to guess what they are. They might say aces. You say, ooh, close, they were actually, and now notice I flipped them face up, and I'm gonna pick up the 4 face up cards as well as the 3 cards that I have the finger break under. So I'm gonna pick up all 7 cards, just like that. So now I'm holding those 7 cards. So that's why I keep them face down, because now it's gonna make it logical to why I'm gonna deal through the kings. So now I'm going to pick up these cards. Another tip I want to give you here is that notice where my finger is here at the front of the king. What that's doing is preventing them from seeing the thickness of the packet. Now, you're probably never going to run into an issue where someone's going to be like, oh, that packet looks awfully thick. But just in case you're worried about that kind of thing, that's an easy way to cover it up, just by having the second finger or first finger over the edge of the cards like this, with your thumb at the back. So you can say the first card here is a king, second one is also a king, third one is also a king. Now the last one, you're holding all 4 cards together. What you're going to do is drop that straight on top. So you deal off the 3 cards. Now you have this king with the 3 aces underneath it, and you drop that on the top of the pack and say the last one, the king of hearts. I'm going to deal out those 4 kings, so I'm going to place them like this, and now I just deal 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm dealing from my left across. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I just want to do a quick position check. So that means to your left, you should have an actual king, the king of hearts. And then these will now be the 3 aces, because what you essentially did with that move by picking up those 3 cards was switch out 3 for another 3, as we just did. So now I'm going to take the deck of cards, and I'm going to place it in front of the 3rd card. So if I'm counting from my left, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to place it just like this here. And I'm going to ask them to take about half the cards and cut them in half. And there's a reason for this, because on top now are those 3 kings, right? Because that's where I switched them out for with those 3 aces, with that move we did earlier. And I got to move that top packet all the way here in front of this other king. So the way I do that is I place the packet in front of the 3rd card and say, I want you to cut about half the cards and tell the spectator to move it to the right. Or you can just point to where you want and say, cut about there. And say, perfect. Say, now you get to choose either pile. You want this one or this one. Doesn't matter which one they choose, because they're going to do the same procedure. But by giving them that choice, it kind of sells the effect as if it has something to do with the method, when it doesn't, right? It kind of just distracts them. And that's what I mentioned earlier about the psychology of this effect. It's interesting because there's 2 things happening. One, you're making them do things and they think something's important there when it's not. And the second thing that's going to be important there, though, is the time delay. So we start with this, they pick a pile, they cut it in half, the same thing, and then take the next one, tell them to do the same thing, cut it in half. There you have it. Straightforward. Now you're gonna say, I'm gonna place these kings on top of each of the piles. One of the things I like to do here is just miscall the cards, right? I know this one's the king of hearts. There's been enough time delay with the cutting that they don't remember the order of these cards. But if I know this one was the hearts, I can just call out the other kings. I can go, I got the king of spades, which is not the king of spades, it's an ace, obviously. I'm just making it up as I go. But that miscalling sells the effect. Oh, the king of diamonds, king of clubs, and then finally, the king of hearts. I'm gonna keep it face up. Actually, you know what? I'll put it face down. That's another little subtlety, right? You can reinforce that you called those other suits, because they're not gonna think that you remember this card, but the fact that you're able to call the clubs, the spades, and the diamonds, and then you can flash the hearts here. Now, you don't want it to be, so obvious about it. Look at the king of hearts right here, face down. So what I would do, say, look, and I'll take the last one, the king of hearts, and place it face up. Actually, you know what? I'll put it face down. Or you can simply say, and I'll take the last one, the king of hearts, and you just bring your hand up just enough so that they'll be able to get a little glimpse of it. As you say, I'll take the last one, the King of Hearts, and drop it right here on top. Just a little subtle thing. The subtleties are what make this effect, I think. Now you're going to do the invisible palm routine, which is really, this is just an assembly routine, because all these 3 cards are going to end up there, seemingly. So all you got to do is place your hand over here, pretend like you picked that card up, show your hand, do a little magic, and you're going to do that 3 times for each of the cards. And then you can say, notice that you didn't see it, but look, now all 4 kings have assembled in one pile, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 kings. And listen, this is amazing. This is the routine. This is a great routine. When my buddy Doug did this effect for me, that's it. I thought it was it. I thought it was done. So my brain was like, oh, I know where this is going. I know the method. I was young and naive, and I thought I knew everything. And I was like, oh, I knew where this is all going. So that's why it ended up fooling me, because I was like, oh, the 4 kings, I saw what you did. And now it's an assembly routine. Not realizing it's an assembly routine with a kicker. And now you can say, remember, you cut the cards. And that is accurate. They did cut the cards. And you can say, I didn't touch them. When you cut them on your own, which is true. They cut them on their own. You didn't touch them when they cut them. You touched them after, but we don't talk about that. And what's good here is when you show these 4 kings, again, there's a time delay buildup. They're forgetting that you placed those cards over there, right? They're forgetting you touched those piles. But you emphasize that they cut, and you cut anywhere. And then you decided which pile, didn't you? And they say, yeah. All of these things are selling them on the idea that how fair it was. Now, of course, you were controlling it, but to them, by asking questions like, you cut the cards, yes. And you could have picked either pile, yes. By getting them to say that, they're buying into the fairness of the routine. And you say, you cut anywhere you liked, and look at this. You happen to cut exactly to the 1, 2, 3, 4 aces. And I promise you, when they see that, they will freak out. Absolutely powerful routine there. What I like also is that as a magician, I get to take credit for the 4 kings, right? Like, they saw that I was doing the magic, and I get the credit as the magician. What I love about the ending for this routine is that the spectator can take all the credit for the aces, because they did all the cutting. And it makes it seem even more impossible because it's really for them, right? So it's a nice moment where you get to celebrate your spectator. It reduces the friction between the magician and the spectator, which often arises where I know something, you don't know something. And that's usually bad magic, right? When you make somebody feel like they don't know something and that like somehow you're better than them. In this case, the routine is great because you're really giving your spectator a chance to be free and get the credit at the end. So it takes the pressure off you and it makes everybody feel very good. So that is the basic routine. Let's talk about without doing a setup. So there's a couple things I want to cover here. So let's say that the aces were randomly in the pack somewhere. So I'll do this and like that and something like this. And that the kings are going to be randomly in the pack. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. You obviously don't have to use kings. That's totally up to you. I just did it for the sake of this video. What you could do, realistically, is tell them to name any number card. So let's say they say the 6s or the 7s or the 5s. Ask them, do you have, between 1 and 9, do you have a favorite number? Or is there a number that you're drawn to more than others, or one that you seem to think is lucky for you? And let's say they say 9s. Then you can go ahead and pull out the 4 9s. And again, the routine is now automatically becoming even more powerful because what you're doing is you're personalizing it for your spectator. Because now it's no longer, look what I can do. It's, hey, this is a number that's lucky for you. You're taking an interest in their lives and you're making the routine about them. That's what makes this also powerful. There's a lot of little layers to this that I really, really like. And any good magic is going to make it about your spectator. So always remember that. Make it about your spectator. So we're going to remove the 4 9s. Now, let's say they name 9s, 7s, whatever the case is. I'll go back to the kings just for the explanation here. But what I'm going to do is as I go through the deck to take out the 4 kings, that's 1, I'm going to look for the aces and I'm going to cull the aces to the top, right? So I'm going to slide the ace to the back and it's going to go and make its way to the top. So just by culling the aces to the top, I'm not doing that tutorial in this video. I think I have it somewhere else, so I'll link to where you might see that. But I'm just going to cull the aces under their spread. Again, I see another ace, but I'm going to take out the kings. And what I'm doing is as I'm taking out the kings, I'm running through, taking out the aces. Now for them, no magic has begun. So now I know that maybe some of us can be a little weary of culling cards, right? Like maybe that's something that's new to us and we're not comfortable with that. But what's great about this is all I'm doing is removing the 4 cards that they named, right? Because I'm removing the 4 cards that they named, I don't have to freak out because no one's looking for me to be controlling the 4 aces to the top. The trick has not begun in the eyes of the spectator. So when I say, just name any 4 of a kind, cool, I'm going to take them out of the pack, there is no heat. It is the easiest call in the world. So I highly recommend that as a method to get into it from a shuffled deck of cards. If you want to do another prearrangement, which is another layer here, what you can do is you can place the aces in the box like this, place the flap there to keep them in order. You could take out the 4 kings, and what you could do is say, I place 4 cards here, give the cards to the spectator, tell the spectator, hey, give those cards a little bit of mix. I don't want to touch them, I'm going to place them inside the box, and then what you really do is you place the aces at the top of it like this. Can you say, I'm going to come back to those in a second, because I'm more interested in these cards here. I took out 4 cards, and if you were to guess what 4 cards were they, what would you say? And you give them an opportunity to guess or whatever the case is. And you say, interesting. You would have said the 5s, but no. See, the 5s are still in the deck. Or you can just say, you see, they're still in the pack. That's not what those cards are. I'll give you a second guess. Now, that justifies you taking the cards out of the box, right? To show them, hey, you took a guess. That wasn't the correct guess, but don't worry about it. I'll give you a second guess. And now, as you spread through the cards, just casually talking to them, you can spread over and get a break under your 3 cards. So you say, good shot. These are actually the 1, 2, 3, 4 kings. And now you can go ahead and start the routine. So that's just another little thing that you can do if you're interested in that sort of thing. I like the routine as it is. I usually call the cards as I ask them to name their favorite number. I stay away from saying name any 4 of a kind because I think often spectators will go with the aces. And you don't want to lead with the aces. I think the aces should be the climax because they are considered the more valuable cards usually. So that's just something that you should consider. And tell them to name a number card, and you can go ahead and go into the routine. Let me know what you think below. It's one of my favorites. It's a great routine. It's a fun one. That's Vivace, Carlos Vaquera, and Aldo Colombini. Sort of simplified version of that. And of course, shout out to my buddy Doug Edwards, who's the one who put me onto it. Thanks, friends. Hope to see you in the next episode. Go watch my TEDx Talk if you don't mind. Show some love. And I'll see you hopefully to celebrate 10K.